Hi YouTube! Welcome back to my Random Thoughts on Thursdays, and this week I'm doing the Holly Jolly Holiday tag. Alright, so as you can see, I am trying to do my vlogs every week now. Wish me luck that I'll keep going on this. I do apologize if I do get too busy with my work that I may skip a week here or there, but I will try and do this every week instead of every other week going forward. So without further ado, let me jump into the Holly Jolly Holiday tag questions. Number 1, favorite Christmas movie. That would have to be Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the original claymation version. I think I saw them do a remake of it as a cartoon, and I have no idea why, because the original claymation version was so awesome. I've always loved that one. I just love the storyline, and I think it's really adorable with him and Clarice and going, running away and saving the abominable snow monster and all that stuff. So I've always loved that one. That's my favorite one. Number 2, are you on the naughty list or the nice list? I'm always on the nice list. I've always been Little Miss Goody Two-Shoes, always too nice, never break the rules, all that kind of stuff. I've often been told that I'm too nice, and I have been taken advantage of because I'm nice, but I can't help it. That's just the way I am. I honestly try to always be a nice person, even if other people are awful and terrible and mean to me, but it's like, you know what? You reap what you sow, in my opinion. Okay, number 3. Show an embarrassing Christmas card photo. Well, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, so as a child we definitely didn't do those. My grandmother would take photos during Christmas, and I will have a few showing up right there of me as a child and some of the tacky Christmas decorations that we had going on. But we never did those. In fact, I don't think you could do those back in the 70s and 80s. I think that started in the 90s, I'm not sure, but we certainly never did it. And after growing up, I certainly have never done it either because I think they're tacky and I have no interest in Christmas card, like going to a photographer and getting dressed up and all that. I don't know, it just isn't my thing, so I don't have one. Have you ever had a white Christmas? Yes. I grew up in Chicago, so there were plenty of white Christmases and a few blizzards that I survived growing up there. And while we haven't always had a white Christmas in Colorado, I have definitely had a few of them. Several. I've been out here since '96, so there's been numerous white Christmases since I moved out here. So yes, I have. Where do you usually spend the holiday? So these days we either spend it at home, just the two of us, which we're doing this year, or we'll travel to Montana to be with my husband's parents for the holidays. And so it's sort of a toss-up this year because we traveled so much. We decided we're just going to stay home and just kind of keep it quiet this year. So we'll go probably next year for Christmas instead. Number 6. Play or sing your favorite Christmas song. Okay, I do a lot of things that are not traditional Christmas stuff because I grew up in a German household. My mom was 9 when they moved to the US, and while we did play Christmas music every Christmas, here's an album that I have that we played. The only time we ever played this was on Christmas Eve, and it's here. You can see the album. So it's Freddie Quinn, Stimme der Heimat. He was a popular pop singer back in the 60s in Germany, and pretty much only in Germany. And this is the only album he ever made that was a German folk song album. So it's all traditional German folk songs, which hopefully I don't need copyright to do, because my favorite song on here is called Husch, was kommt von draußen rein. I'm saying that very slowly so that you pick up the words, but basically it translates to listen, what's coming in from the outside, which doesn't sound terribly interesting, but the whole song is, it's a fun little song all about a guy who's like, hey, listen, who's coming in from the outside? Could it be my loved one, my lover, my girlfriend, whatever? And then the song goes on to say, oh, goes past the house without even saying hello. Ah, it couldn't be her. And so it kind of goes into that, it's sort of that kind of a thing. And it's kind of a fun little song, and I mean, I love all the songs on here, but that was always my absolute favorite song on the album. And so here is a little sample of the song.
Horch, was kommt von draußen rein? Holla hi, holla ho, wird wohl mein feins Liebchen sein. Holla hi, ho, geht vorbei und schaut nicht rein. Holla hi, holla ho, wird's wohl nicht gewesen sein. Holla hi, ho.
Alright, so I only played about half of that song, just so you get a flavor of it. But anyway, so that's my favorite Christmas song. Okay, so number 7, do you open any presents on Christmas Eve? Yes. Our tradition, the German tradition that I grew up with is you always open presents on Christmas Eve. Traditionally you do it at midnight, so it's technically Christmas Day. But when I was really little, obviously, they didn't wait until midnight because it was way past my bedtime. So we'd usually do it after dinner. We'd have dinner and dessert and coffee, and then we'd open presents. And then as I got older, they pushed it out later and later until we finally got it to midnight. But in Germany, the tradition is you don't have Santa Claus in Germany. I mean, they might have them now, but when my grandmother was growing up, you had St. Nicholas who came on December 6th. And you leave your shoes out in the front door and they get filled with candy. So St. Nicholas is basically the figure that kind of morphed into what Santa Claus is today. But then on Christmas Eve in Germany, you would have a visitation from the Christkindl, or the Christ child. And the way her family celebrated Christmas, like, they would get the Christmas tree on Christmas Eve. Her father would go out to the, well, they lived in a big city, so I don't know if he'd go out through the woods. I don't know if people sold trees in the town, but he got a tree, and the parents would close off the parlor, and set up the tree with all the candles on it, because in those days they actually used real candles, and would decorate the tree, put all the presents under the tree, and then at midnight, they would hear a little bell ring, and that meant that the Christ child had just visited, and they'd open it up, and like magic, there's a Christmas tree with candles and presents. The last time they saw the parlor, there was nothing in there. Not realizing, well, I mean, as they got older, I'm sure they did realize that it was their parents that put it all up, but the thought was that the Christ child came and delivered the tree and the lights and the presents all in one magical swoop. And so they would then open all the presents at that point. And so that's the tradition. Obviously, growing up for me, I knew about St. Nicholas, I knew about the Christ child, but I also knew about Santa Claus. And that kind of all got mushed together for me. But yeah, we always open presents on Christmas Eve. Can you name all Santa's reindeer? Let's see. Do you know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, and of course Rudolph? So yes, I can. What holiday tradition are you looking most forward to this year? Well, a lot of my favorite traditions don't happen anymore because my grandmother is gone, my mom's gone, my uncle's in Chicago, so it's just me and my husband. But there's one tradition that I still keep up every year, and that's exchanging a Christmas package with my relatives in Germany. My grandmother's sister, Lena, she's like 102 now. She's still alive. And her son, so that would be my grandmother's nephew, and his family, they have always sent us Christmas packages. In fact, that's where I got most of my presents every year, was from them. And they always sent us a package, we always sent them a package. My grandmother's stuff that she would send were almost always homemade items, cookies and homemade whatevers, because we didn't have a lot of money, so she'd just send homemade stuff. And we would get back and I'd get toys and books and clothes and all sorts of cool stuff. So I used to love getting that package from Germany every year. And so we still do that. To this day, we still do that. I kept up the tradition even after my grandmother passed away, because to me it was one of my favorite things that I didn't want to let go of my childhood. And thankfully, my Uncle Adolf, and yes, his name was Adolf, and he was not named after that infamous one. So anyway, but he kept up the tradition with me. I mean, he's in his late 60s now. He's retired, but he's been kind enough to keep the tradition going. I don't know if after he and his wife pass, if if their children will continue sending me things or not. They might not. They might not care as much as I do. For me, it had a lot of meaning, especially considering how poor we were, to get all these wonderful things from Germany, and the fact that they were generous enough to send all these things. It meant a lot. And yeah, it's my favorite tradition still to this day. Is your Christmas tree real or fake? Take a guess. It's about as fake and plastic as you can get. Growing up, we always had plastic Christmas trees, so I have no idea how to deal with a real one. I've never had a real one. I'm pretty satisfied, and this is like a nice cheap pre-lit one from Target, and I'm pretty happy with it. And it is what it is. It's not. I try to make it not too gaudy. I unfortunately I lost my my trim. It's not tinsel trim, but it was like a ribbon that I would put around it, and I lost that, and I haven't replaced it yet. But I do have all my ornaments still with red poinsettias and gold colored ornaments, and I try to keep it simple but elegant. And anyway, so yep, fake as can be. Hands down, sorry, this is number 11. Hands down, what's your all-time favorite holiday food and holiday sweet treat? For me, a toss-up for food would be either sauerbraten, which I'm making this year, or leg of lamb. My grandmother would make one or the other each year, and so I absolutely love eating either one of those, and I absolutely have to have at least one of them. I've been doing leg of lamb the last couple of years, so this year I thought I'd switch it up and do the sauerbraten. And for those of you who don't know what sauerbraten is, it's basically a roast of beef, and you marinate the beef for 3 to 5 days. I usually do 5, in a vinegar blend. That's like vinegar and herbs like bay leaves and things like that in water. And you marinate that really well for, like I said, like 5 days. It makes the meat really tender and juicy, and I don't know, I just love the flavor of it. And then you serve that with a side of, you can either do mashed potatoes or potato dumplings or potato something. And that kind of thing. So that's usually my absolute favorite thing to eat as a food for Christmas. And then for a sweet treat, I love all of the traditional German sweets that come out during the holidays. There's the Stollen, which is kind of like a sweet bread that's filled with dried fruit, like candied orange peels and citrus peels and raisins and just all sorts of dried fruits in there. And then they bake it, and then they cover it with sugar and powdered sugar. And I don't know, I've always loved that stuff. I especially love the ones where they put marzipan in the center. Or growing up, I called it marzipan because that's the German pronunciation. And to me, it still sounds weird to say marzipan. But anyway, but the ones that have the marzipan in the center, or even better, the ones that have rum and marzipan. That's the absolute best one. However, those are hard to find, so I love that. Then I love, there's like kind of cookie-like things called Lebkuchen, and they're kind of soft, and they're either covered with like a sugar icing or chocolate. And I guess they're kind of gingerbready, but they're soft, they're not crunchy gingerbread, so it's hard to explain. You have to try one to know what I'm talking about, but they're really good, and they're, to me, they're completely holidays. And there's lots of variations of that, or you can have like something that I grew up with called Dominosteine, which are they're little squares, they're like petit fours, and they're layers of Lebkuchen and marzipan and jelly, and then covered in chocolate. So yeah, I love all that kind of German good stuff there. So my phone keeps locking up on me. All right, so next question, number 12. Be honest. Do you like giving gifts or getting gifts? Who doesn't like getting gifts? I mean, of course I like getting gifts, but if I have to say my preference is to absolutely give gifts. If I got absolutely 0 gifts this year, as long as I can give something to people that I know and love, that makes me so happy. I'm a stickler for trying to find the exact perfect gift for people based on their personalities, what I know they like, what I know that they enjoy. And so, yeah, I absolutely love giving gifts, wrapping them, giving the people, you know, the ones that I send to Germany, obviously I can't see them open them, so I don't know how much they like them. So I'm hoping they like the gifts that I send them. But for my friends and family, I absolutely love, you know, especially the look on their face if I get them the right gift. They just light up, and you just know if you've gotten the right gift or not. And so I just absolutely love doing that. It makes me feel really warm and fuzzy and happy inside. All right. 13. Show us your tackiest Christmas attire. For example, ugly sweater. I don't have one. Sorry. I think I may have had something somewhat Christmas tacky back when I was a teenager, but I don't have that anymore, and I don't buy those things. I gave up buying tacky Christmas stuff like years ago. I mean, the most Christmassy thing I have, I actually am wearing right now. I don't usually wear red a lot, but I really like this color of red on this turtleneck. It's a nice dark red, and it's about as Christmassy colored as I got. And then I've got this nice sparkly gold scarf that I bought recently, and some earrings and things. But, you know, I don't really have anything that Christmassy that I wear. I have some wintry kind of stuff, but they're not that Christmassy. They're just kind of wintry. So, yeah, I don't really have one. Sorry. What would be your dream place to visit for the holiday season? For years, I always dreamt of visiting Germany for the holidays, and I actually had a chance to go back in 2007 with my husband. He was still my boyfriend at the time, but we actually went to visit for Christmas. It was the first time I had a chance to do that, and that was absolutely amazing to spend Christmas actually with my relatives, opening presents with them while we were there, rather than sending the package and stuff. So that was awesome. I've only ever visited them in the summertime, so that was really great. Right now, if I could spend Christmas anywhere, it would probably be in a fancy high-end log cabin up in Telluride, with a big cozy fireplace and a beautiful view of the mountains, and just me and my husband and the dogs, and that's it. That would be a really great place to go for Christmas, in my opinion. But we're just staying home this year. Number 15. Does your family have a special holiday recipe you like to help make? Well, since I'm the only one around, I'm the one who's making everything. I already talked about the sauerbraten and the leg of lamb, and I love making those. One other thing that my grandmother would make every year for Christmas would be a key lime pie, which I know isn't very Christmassy, but I love making that one too. Although this year I'm probably going to skip it since I'm still trying to lose weight, and my husband will eat like one slice and then I have to eat the rest of it, and well, that's not a good idea. So I'm probably going to skip that. Number 16, are you a pro present wrapper or do you fail miserably? I'd say I'm decent. My wrapping isn't like absolute precision perfect by any means, but I try and get it as close as possible, so I think my wrapping is pretty decent. I don't have an example to show you because the only stuff I had wrapped was in the Christmas package, which is already on its way to Germany, so, but I think I'm decent. Number 17, most memorable holiday moment. I'd say the trip to Germany back in 2007, just going there for Christmas, and just actually being with family for Christmas instead of, being here and just sending the package. That was definitely great. And then the weekend between Christmas and New Year's, my husband and I took a drive all the way down to Monte Carlo. It literally took 7 hours to drive from Germany all the way to Monte Carlo through 7 different countries. And so the drive was a lot of fun. Spending an entire day in Monte Carlo was a lot of fun. So that wasn't really on Christmas, but it was part of our Christmas trip to Germany. And so just between spending the time with the family, going to Monte Carlo, I mean, that was a lot of fun, and we just really had a good time on that trip. And that's definitely a favorite Christmas memory for me. Number 18, what made you realize the truth about Santa? To be perfectly honest, I don't think I ever believed in Santa Claus. I was always I was always very skeptical to begin with. 2, there was like Santa Clauses at every department store, so that was kind of suspicious. And of course, my grandmother would say, oh, they're just Santa's helpers. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine, then why do they dress as Santa? But then on top of that, my grandmother did the St. Nicholas thing on the December 6th, and we did the opening the presents on Christmas Eve, even though Santa Claus was supposed to come Christmas Eve, but I wasn't buying it. Especially considering all of the Christmas presents were under the tree weeks before, well, not weeks, but maybe a week before Christmas started. We'd have all the presents under the tree already. It's like, yeah. So I honestly never really believed in Santa. Number 19. Do you make New Year's resolutions and do you stick to them? I don't really do resolutions because I don't see the point. I mean, I like having a goal for the new year. It's not the same as a resolution in my mind. But, if there's something that I haven't accomplished yet in this year, I'm like, okay, I want to do that by next year, that kind of thing. So that's maybe sort of a resolution, but most of my resolutions or most of my goals that I've set for myself in recent years have all been for my business. Making sure, I want to get a client. Oh, I want to get more than one client. Oh, I want to be billing more than, at least 30 hours a week. That kind of thing. So I've been mostly focusing on my career and my business. And my goal for next year is to start the planning process to expand my business. And I'm not ready to hire employees yet, but I am probably going to hire at least 1 or 2 subcontractors who can help me with projects and things. And I will eventually transition to a point where I can hire employees, but I'm going to need to restructure my company first, and there's a lot of stuff to consider before I do that. But that's my next big goal right now. I know a lot of people do resolutions for weight loss and stuff, but I'm like, I already started doing that in August. I don't have to, oh yeah, I'm going to start working out in January. I'm like, I've been doing it. I am doing it. I went to the gym today. I don't need to do that as a resolution. Same thing with my diet. So yeah, like I said, I'm very goal focused and goal oriented, and it's pretty much all for my career, and really and that's it. So, and finally, number 20, what makes the holidays special for you? Well, growing up, my family, there was a lot of hate and anger and fighting within my family. My mom and my uncle never got along. They hated each other. My grandparents fought like cats and dogs. Because my mom was really messed up, she would fight a lot with her parents and be really mean to me on top of it. So throughout the year, there was a lot of fighting and anger and yelling and screaming and all this kind of stuff going on throughout the year. So during the holiday season, I don't know how my family managed to do it, but they would put aside all of their anger, all of their fighting, and they would actually get along with each other, like from my birthday all the way through New Year's. And everything was happy. I think my family also scrimped and saved so they had some money during the holidays because we actually had food and we had good food. and my grandmother would be baking all the time, and like I said, everyone got along. And so for me, the holidays are such a happy, special occasion because all of that anger and hate and everything was put aside for like an entire month. And so to this day, I still have giddy enjoyment of this time of year because my family did that. And I think I mean, as far as I know, they did that specifically for me. They put aside everything to make the holiday special for me as a child, and you know, I'm grateful to them for being able to do that. Because to this day, like I said, this time of year is so special to me. And it breaks my heart that for like my husband, he hates the holidays because his family didn't do that. If there was fighting and anger during the year, there'd be fighting and anger during the holidays, and his mom screwed with his head during the holidays and all this stuff. And so he has some really bad holiday memories, and he can't stand the holidays. I mean, he barely tolerates me having a tree. I probably do a lot more decoration than this, but you know, he's like, okay, you can have a tree. That's it. And I try not to play Christmas music when he's home and that kind of thing because, you know, he's got such really bad memories of the holidays. And mine are just the opposite. So we're like polar opposites when it comes to holidays. And I try my best to make the holidays a good time for my husband. I don't go overboard and try to over Christmas him or anything. I just try and make sure that things are good. That everything at home is good. When he comes home, he's got a nice dinner waiting for him on the days that I decide to cook. Or, you know, I'll pick up dinner several times during the month while we go out instead of jointing it between the two of us. I just do things to make him feel better about this time of year as much as I possibly can. I mean, he still has the bad memories, and it is what it is, but I try and do what I can to make this time of year more tolerable for him. So anyway, thank you for joining me. I think this video is probably pretty long. I'm going to try to edit out some of the rambling, but I apologize if it's still a really long video by the end of this, but thanks for joining me, and I wish everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, and whatever else you celebrate. Oh, the solstice, happy solstice, for those of you who don't celebrate anything else. And until next time, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.